Okay, so what I want to do is take a quick second to talk to you a little bit about the body paragraphs that I posted just a second ago. So when you're looking in the module, I have all this information here about writing your essay. And I've given you a sample introduction here that's really important that I'd like you to take a look at. A lot of times people have questions on what to do in an introduction, so I've posted this sample here for you, so it's really easy for you to hopefully see. One thing I want you to notice is that this whole first page, this is all your MLA format, so it's exactly how it should be. Your name, the instructor's name, the course name, the date the assignment's due, your last name and page number up here, and then your title. But in terms of the introduction, the things that are important is, remember, I've been talking about this thing called the hook. So in this one here, we've got a hook where he told a story. And this was on a different essay prompt, but still, a story is one type of hook that you can do. The bridge is this middle section here where he talks about all the sources that he's going to use in his paper. Okay. So you see, that's the biggest part usually of your introduction. You're going to devote 2 sentences to summarizing each source. You'll see things like the author's name, the title, and then a couple sentences of summary. And then generally, the very last sentence is going to be the thesis. So you'll see that when you do all three parts of the introduction that I've discussed so far, your introduction itself is often around a page long. So it might be a little bit longer than some of you have done before. Some of you might already be familiar with this format. But the other thing that I wanted to show you as well is the body paragraphs. So I also have a couple body paragraphs in here, okay, that are important to look at as well. So these body paragraphs are from this essay, and it's from another student. Actually, these were written from a past class. People did these together in like a group assignment. So the first thing I want to point out is that each of the body paragraphs has that topic sentence that I've talked to you about. So the topic sentence, remember, is you take one of the ideas from the thesis and you make it the very first sentence of a body paragraph. Then what we do is we go from the topic sentence to a little bit of explanation here in the middle, okay? And then the main important thing that we want to do is we want to choose quotes for our body paragraphs. And if we look back up here, the topic of this body paragraph is, it says, one of the biggest barriers to student success is fearing failure and doubting one's ability to succeed in school. So then there's a little bit of explanation about this. And then the student chose an example from the Rebecca Cox chapter. And the quote directly relates back up to here, this idea of fearing failure and doubting our ability. So the quote says, according to Ava, a community college student, that first day when the professor said it's going to be an essay after essay, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to make it. Just the fact that she said, oh, you get an essay after essay after essay, that's what scared me. So there's the example. And remember, we need examples to show that we're not just sort of making this stuff, that this stuff up. This is, in fact, a fear people have when they come into college. Okay. And then we give a little bit of explanation, like what's relevant about that quote. What is she scared of? What are the things that stand out? And then we move into a second example that again relates back up here to this topic sentence. So here's our second example right there. Um, like in the chapter, Cox sums up this fear of failure that many students she interviewed face. She writes, thus the fear of failure, rather than actual failure or evidence of unsuitability, prevents full commitment and engagement. So we've got that second nice quote in there. And then we explain why, what's important about this quote, and we tie it back to the prompt, and we want to make sure that we're explaining why this is such an obstacle. So you don't just say, oh, like, here's the obstacle and move on. You say, here's the obstacle, and that second part of the prompt is, why is it so, debilitating or so problematic for students? So a lot of this explanation here is going to talk about that. The next body paragraph actually goes into now a solution. So this would be like your prompt 3, where like what's one of the big obstacles and what are 2 ways students could get around it. So this is a paragraph that then starts to talk about how students can overcome it. And you could see in the topic sentence up here, here's the answer. If a student becomes aware that he or she has an immense fear of failure, what can they do to overcome it? One of the best ways for students to overcome this fear is to simply ask for help or find campus support. So there's the solution. There's your topic sentence. Now, this student chose to do something that wasn't really covered in the readings, so they had to look and find their own research. So they found some quotes about why it's important to ask for outside help. And then there was actually a quote that they also found from Bainology to support this idea that you don't really sort of succeed without dedicating yourself and asking for support. Okay. And so those are a couple examples that I hope they help you understand sort of how to write your introduction and how to write your body paragraph. So again, those are just a couple examples, and we'll go over this in session as well. All right, take care.